So for me, the hardest thing about playing football professionally wasn't actually the 11 players I was going up against. It was actually dealing with my own thoughts and emotions 5 days before a game, night before a game, and especially during a game. That was probably my biggest opponent and the hardest thing I've had to deal with.
Why?
Because football was no longer the game that I played when I was a kid. It stopped becoming fun. It was more stressful. I'd think about it 5 days before a match would happen. I'd play every eventuality in my head. I would have vividly had images of my head making mistakes and visualised the criticism from the fans, from my teammates, from the staff, online. I would have felt it. I wouldn't sleep at night, and it wasn't just the game that I once started where I just wanted to go out and express myself.
So what you're saying is football wasn't play anymore. It was like more of a prison than play.
Yeah, sadly, yeah. It was something that I even say that I dreaded it sometimes. I'd think about who I was playing against. I wouldn't look at the fixtures like I do now and be like, oh, I'm really excited for that fixture. I'd look for them fixtures and be like, oh, that's the big one. That's the one I'm dreading. Don't make a mistake in that one. Or maybe hopefully I don't get picked for that one. And yeah, I wanted to play, but part of me was, when I didn't, I was like, it was relief. It was, I'm not going to look silly today. I'm not going to make the mistakes again. It's all that tension, all that pressure and all that build up's not going to be on me this week. And that's what football became for me.
So how did it get like that? How did it become such a prison for you, rather than the point when you was younger and it used to be play and you used to enjoy it and you express yourself, and then you transfer over to the pro game and it's not fun. It's trying to avoid mistakes, trying to avoid situations like you said about running away. And if you didn't play, it was actually a relief. How did it end up getting like that, and why?
I think there was just a crossover somewhere, and it was really young for me when I was in the academy, where I used to really overthink before games what was going to happen, what I was going to do. And 9 times out of 10, it would be the negative version. I'd never run the positive version of it. It was always the negative version. And because I visualised it so much, like a lot of the time it came true. Maybe not all the time, but like before the game, my brain was so filled with negative things that I just never looked forward to going out into the game anymore. Why would I? All these things I was thinking and projecting that could happen, how could I possibly look forward to the match?
So what negative things were you thinking?
I'm going to lose the ball. I'm going to make a mistake. It's going to cost the team a goal. Ball's going to go under my foot. And it's not just that, it's the feelings that are then triggered with it. The heaviness, the groans, letting down family, letting down teammates, letting down the crowd. I could handle making a mistake, but I think it was everything that I then came with it. It was the weight of judgment was just like, I can feel it in myself. It's heavy. Your legs become heavy. But then the knock-on effect of that is, okay, you make a mistake and all that comes true, but then the ball comes to you again. And the hardest part is then your vision goes from like there to there. Like I can remember just seeing people, as the ball comes into me, all I can see is people's feet. I don't even know whose team they were on. I was looking at socks going, they're not on my team, because my vision under pressure just narrows. My legs become really, really heavy. Managers are screaming, pass the ball, move it quick. And I'm like, I can't. I don't even know what I'm looking for anymore. And it was like my brain was filled with so much stuff that I didn't even know who was out there anymore.
What stuff was it filled with? I'm really going in deep now.
Yeah. Other people's ideas. I think deep down there was ideas that I wanted to do, but then fear just overrode that. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do, but I'm not going to do that. That was too risky. So what's the next safest thing to do? Then expectations started to come onto me. Like I had to keep the ball every single time. I had to be the best player, but I had no chance with all these thoughts going through my head. So then I had the expectation that I needed to keep the ball every single time. So I'd make one mistake early on. That's my game finished, because my expectation was broken. So what I ended up doing was going, okay, that expectation that I had to keep the ball and not give the ball away. All I used to do was get the ball and give it to the person closest to me. I'd see a long pass that was the right option, but I'd just give it to the person next to me because I knew that doing that, I was safe. I was meeting my expectations. I wasn't making many mistakes, and the part of me was I was massively in survival mode. And for years, I believed that was me playing football, and it wasn't.
Do you think a lot of players do that now? Do you think a lot of them in survival mode? Like you've seen players come through at Sunderland. You're club captain at Sunderland. Do you think a lot of players struggle with these fears? And obviously, we work together with people in the Elite 11. Do you see all them fears in players, and they just don't say it and they keep it to themselves?
100%. I would say, if I had to really think about it, I'll give you a more accurate number, but I'd say over 50% of players are in this survival state.
50? I'd go higher.
Yeah, like, I'm just going I'm going a lot higher, but it's at least 50%. I don't know, but it could be. It's better to say that I haven't seen many players that are completely free of judgment. It's better to work that way around. Like I've seen a very, very few select players that are but either in touch with their younger self and how they used to play, or just completely free of the judgment and there to express. They're completely out of survival mode. Like players all now play in survival mode, and it's then transition into thrive mode. And going from survival to thrival, that's a journey. And yeah, that's the goal. That's what I've been trying to do the last few years.
So I think it's a lot higher. I'd go from obviously my experience working with pros, and then we done an analysis on this, right? We found that we took 107 conversations, put it in and said how many people struggle with, like you said, judgment, and it was 107 out of 107. Yeah. And there were World Cup winners, Premier League players, internationals, and all of them struggle with judgment. And I think it's completely natural. There's not many players you'll see who don't struggle with them four fears: judgment, expectations, the unknown, and failure. I think they all struggle with them things. So, question for you: you've kind of come out the other side of it. How did you shift it? What happened? What changed?
Well, I look back at my journey now to the Premier League, and it's like, okay, I underestimated psychology completely. I thought it was a bit woo-woo, didn't think I needed it, thought I had a good mentality. And I didn't even used to think I was in survival mode. I thought how I was playing was, I'd leave every game deluded, going, no, I was good today. Until I honestly said to myself, am I enjoying this? Am I playing how I know I should be playing? Like for years I said yes, but it wasn't until I realised I wasn't having fun out there. Every week was just fear. It was driven by fear. I was led by fear. Every day was that. And what changed? Well, I spent 99% of my time working on physical, technical, just all of that was physical and technical. In the last few years, when I really, really struggled, the higher went up, the higher the judgment, and the higher the intensity, I couldn't carry on with that version of myself. Like it was too much. I was drowning. So then I started working with you, and I didn't want to work with you. You came and said, "You want to work with me?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to work with you," because I was still convinced myself that I was doing okay. And I think you asked me about 10, 15 times, and then you eventually got me on a coaching call. And it wasn't until that I got a taste of the work, then I applied it to my game, and I went, oh, for the first time, I breathed when I played. It wasn't just tension. I could feel my fingers release. I could feel a smile coming out. And I was like, okay, I need this. Because whatever I did in life, one thing I always did with myself is whenever I saw a level of training that was higher than what I knew, I gravitated straight towards it. Whether that was sled running, hill sprints, whatever gym exercise came out, I was always looking for that next thing to help me get to the next level. But I never did that with psychology. I'd listen to podcasts, but then you kept asking me to come on a call. I was like, no, thank you. I'm fine. I'm not interested. And then you said, right, can you come on this coaching call? And I went, yeah, I'd love to, because you're asking me to help some other players. And then I got hooked. I was like I did with my physical, my technical side, it was like instant. Oh, I felt the change, and I was like, I am lacking massively in that department. So I started doing a couple of sessions, and then for the games, it was like an instant shift in me I could feel. And then the more I did, then the freer I got, and I was like, yeah, wow, I can feel it in my body now, just shifting the energy, and the tension's just starting to go now, just even thinking about it. But it was, yeah, I questioned, why have I not started this earlier?
Because you don't know what you don't know, right? It was the same as me. I didn't think I needed it. I thought I had a great mindset until we actually get tested. And then under pressure, we realise what our mindset actually is like. So the saying is, during times of stress and adversity, we don't rise to our expectations. We fall to a level of our training. So all the players, they think they've got a great mentality until they have pressure put on them, until they go up to the next level, and then they see really what they're like.
Yeah, and that's when I crumbled, because I think I went from non-league, and then the step up to League Two was a nice gradual step up, where I was still hiding my insecurities and still surviving, but I could still make that step up. But then I went from League Two to Sunderland, and that step up was massive. So what you said, like there was now enormous pressure, and you don't rise to the level of the occasion. You fall to the level of your processes. And I had zero, well, I wouldn't say I had zero processes, because I had what I learned by myself.
You had hard work, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of hard work. And don't get me wrong.
That was the foundations for you. Yeah?
Like, I survived on hard work for years. But again, I survived. We're talking about elite football here. You don't want to survive. Like, surviving will only take you so far. Like, if you're going for a swim, you don't want to just be survival swimming. No. You want to be, and that's the funny thing. So I then joined Sunderland, and I then realised, whoa, okay, now the judgment's on. I didn't make the level straight away, and now I'm getting attacked on social media. My voice inside my head is now turned up 10 times, and I was like, I'm drowning here. And the funny thing is, the best time to learn how to swim isn't when you're drowning. You don't go, oh, can you teach me how to swim now? Because too late. You can't learn to swim.
And especially against the current. Yeah.
And that's what I was like. I was now trying to learn how to swim while drowning. And I was like, oh. So then I took 3 months out of the team. I had to steady, I had to get out of the water, and I had to learn, again, these processes to deal with the things that football never teaches you, but will hammer at it. Is all these coping mechanisms to deal with what football is. Because everybody can play football. Everybody can run. Everybody can kick a ball. So, and everybody's just as fast as each other. You know, so what's the difference then? And people always say, like, okay, if we all can run and we can all have the technical side of it, then the biggest difference is the psychology. Because the psychology is the one that repeats the technical side. And once it's learned, it's all in here. So when it falls apart, again, it's here. So it's learning the coping mechanisms to perform under pressure. And I had none. And that's something I had to learn very, very quickly, because I was very close to leaving and getting pushed aside and going back down the levels, because all through a lack of coping mechanisms.
As you say there, form, it's not a skill set problem, it's a thinking problem. I think players don't get that. Their technical ability hasn't changed. They're thinking about their technical abilities change, so they get stuck inside their own head, and that's what you see pro players struggle with. For me, they always say, I'm an overthinker, I'm an overanalyzer. I'm like, well, you've done this thousands of times. It's a head problem. So question for you, what did you learn about pressure and confidence?
It's all internal. So I used to think confidence was this magic formula that you could only get now and again. I used to, I laugh now thinking about it. I used to go to bed unconfident and be like, come on, today's the day I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like, I'm going to feel it's going to be good. And what I didn't realise is I'd wake up in the morning for the game. I didn't know if it was there or not. And then something would happen in the game that was good. And then I'd play well and I'm like, I'm confident again. But then something would happen at the next game that was bad and I'm like, I've lost my confidence again. And what I realised is I was relying on actions to dictate where my confidence was. But now, like, I've realised that confidence is something, it's a belief system that you build. It's the stories that you tell yourself. And I remember hearing this before and I was like, okay, that sounds a bit woo-woo, I'm not interested. But until you're live in the moment, and then you realise when you make a mistake on the biggest stage that you can rebuild it yourself, like, that's the golden formula. Because as footballers, we're all you make mistakes all the time. And I used to wait weeks, months for it to come back. And by then, you're out the team. You might be up for a contract renewal, and they're like, you're not playing very well at the minute. Now, I've had games where last season I gave away a penalty and scored an own goal in one game, and I managed to rebuild it right there in the second half and had a wonderful second half, like perfect 100% like action completion. That was me trying things. I was in thrive mode, and my second half was perfect. Previously, that first half would have wrecked me, and I would have been gone for the second half, hoping that the manager just put me subs board up. I would have acted disappointed and that I wanted to stay out of there, but really I was just would have been relief. But it's that ability to, psychology, what we do in the 11, it's giving players tools, and a tool is something that you have to change your state, because that is all that football is. People are going to, you've got 11 people trying to stop you, so you're going to make mistakes. You've got all the fans, all the noise, and it's like actually having tools and things to use to change your state to serve you to then be able to play for every minute in training, in games. And that's something that I just never had before, and now we're given to other people.
Yeah, so for me, it's been amazing to watch your change over the last 5-6 years, where mistakes used to cripple you, but now mistakes is a learning opportunity. So you've changed the way you see it. You've got frameworks. It's an opportunity to learn and to evolve, to be saying things like, that's never going to happen again. I can learn from it. Your confidence stays high even if you make a mistake. Like one of the biggest games you had last season in the Tyne-Wear derby, mistake in the first, was it 10 minutes or something? But that could have,
earlier than that.
yeah, but that could have crushed you, and you could have crumbled from it. But you did. It didn't.
It did crush me.
It did, but you had the tools to get out of it.
100%. Yeah, it crushed me, and I was like, I'm very lonely here, and there's a lot of emotion hitting me right now. You can name it: tears, frustration, anger. I could hear voices screaming at me, and yeah, like I could from that moment. It's one of the best coaching and life experience I've ever had. Is that under pressure your vision narrows by 60%, I think it is. So playing out for the next goal kick after that, I was the pressing trigger and the pass was the right back, but my vision went from there to there. So players are screaming at me, which is making my vision go more narrow, and they're saying, can you see the pass? I'm like, yeah, I can see it. But then when the ball comes to me, I can't see it. So what I learned from that is like I needed to learn like everything I learned with you that we're now having the 11. I had to use everything there to be able to steady the ship for the second half. And again, the second half was spot on for me. How's
you been like before? Just really quickly, if that would have happened, that's 5 years ago, and you was playing that game, what would have happened then?
Probably would have cried
on the pitch.
What would have happened? Well, what would have happened? My debut. You say what would happen 7 years before that, the exact same thing happened pretty much, and that was my Sunderland debut, and I was off at half time. So you say what would have happened? There's the evidence. I joined Sunderland with zero strategies on the mental side. So when that did happen to me on a slightly different scale, I made mistakes. I was off at half time. I didn't play again for 3 months, and they were like my exit route was already planned. So that's what happened. And then within that moment there started my psychology journey. I was like, I am lacking something here. But the funny thing is, I didn't start working with you until like for them next few months after I got dragged on my Sunderland debut. I started lifting more weights. I started kicking more balls because I was like, my technical side's gone here. The ball went under my foot. It's my half turning skills. It's my passing skills. So I smashed that, and I was getting more and more tired, more and more frustrated. But that, like what we said, form isn't that side. Form is mindset. But I kept hammering the wrong side of it, hence why I was never getting better. And it wasn't until I stopped and luckily started working with you that I then started to piece it all together, because all that side was good. And the funny thing is now thinking about it, I've seen some of the best Premier League players, some of the players that I've played with, they barely work on the technical side now, because it's so ingrained in them that it's the mental side to repeat it. But I used to spend hours doing that, like tiring myself out. That's already there. That's what changes it is pressure. Pressure makes that all mixed up, and then you can't reproduce it. So then you go back to the training pitch, you spend hours working on it when you don't need to. You're making yourself more tired. You're tiring out your knees. Like what I learned from spending hours and hours throughout the week trying to do this and do the technical side, I'd spend an eighth of the time in the classroom or with you or on the phone on a Zoom, and I'd 10 times my game. And I was like, I was saving energy, I was working smarter, and everything started to click. It feels like a cheat code.
It is. So I reached out to you. Why didn't you reach out to someone else, and why don't players ask for help?
I wanted to do it myself. It was an ego thing. I took pleasure in saying I didn't need help from anyone. I wouldn't really listen to anyone. I was like, I know what I need to do. I maybe listen to the coaches. But yeah, I just wanted to do it all myself. I thought it was a sign of weakness, really asking for other people. I don't know if it was probably it was a sign of weakness asking people for help. I got to a certain level by myself, practicing by myself, with help from my dad, that, I just thought I could carry on that trajectory and just do it all myself. Like, how cool would it be if I got to the Premier League by myself? That's what was my thinking, and it sounds deluded doing it. And it's like, why would I not fast track myself there and that's what I do now. Whenever I need help with anything, it's mentors. Who's been on that journey? How did they get there? How do they get around the pain points? Teach me.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. You said it's a cheat code, right? It's like who, not how. Instead of going, how do I do this? You're saying, who can help me with this? And I see players who never ask for help, and they get to the end of their careers and they go, oh, I need to get an edge now because I'm at the end of my career. I'm like, you're doing it now at the end of your career? Why aren't we doing that at the start of your career? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
so why don't players go, I need help? What's the fear?
I think a part of me didn't want to pay for someone when I just thought, what can they teach me? And, when I was on at Wickham...
You still haven't paid me, you still owe me.
When I was on at Wickham, and I was like, I'm on £300 a week here. I was on minimum wage. And even at Sunderland, I went up, my wages went up, but the same thought process started. I was like, I'd rather go spend it, and that's what we do, we'll go spend it on material things.
Champagne bottles, sparklers at nightclubs.
Yeah, and that's what players do. They go
Trainers.
spend on that, and they go, no, I don't have anything to spend on work with a coach. Why would I? I did the same with a tactical coach. I was like, no, I'm fine. Like I know what I do with my game when it's wrong, and so I did the same with psychology. Like the two pieces of the jigsaw that I've now worked on since the age of 27, the last 4 or 5 years, I worked with a tactical coach, and a performance coach, and them two pieces of the jigsaw, which are now built into the Elite 11, changed everything for me.
Yeah, players don't.
Everything.
I agree. Players don't realise that they will spend money on, say, the superficial stuff, cars, etc. But what's actually going to get them to the next level is working on this, where they will, like, your contracts have gone.
Yeah, so I've added a couple more zeros on from going from £300 a week. And it's like, I didn't want to take that investment, but you have to take the investment first. Otherwise, it doesn't work. People go, okay, well, I always say, I'll get to £500 a week, and I might look into doing someone. Then I got to £500 a week. No. Okay, if I get to £1,000 a week, and it's like, no, I'm all right, actually. And it was like, okay, well, the minute I took my investment, I got better contracts. I went up the leagues. The leagues actually became easier for me because I started working on the things that I needed to. Before then, it was just the game was getting harder and harder, and I was like, okay, well, it's getting harder because I'm going up the levels. But no, it was like the last few years, the transitions have been a lot easier because I'm now focusing on the right things while doing less work. It doesn't sound right, but I've been doing a lot less work, with a lot more clarity in what I need to do. And now when I'm playing the game, the biggest thing now is I'm seeing the game as clear as ever. Like, it's like sometimes the game's happening in slow-mo. And how do I know that? Because I can now coach it to players. I never could coach how to do things, but now I can coach it to players and I can give it to them. I do it with some of my teammates now. But it's like the game's now happening again in not just a normal speed, a slower speed. I'm now seeing and reacting before other people are. Like my mind is as free as it ever been. I'm not overthinking. Day before game, I'm not overthinking it. Not thinking about it at all.
I know.
I go out now. People are like, why are you out here? Even my dad sometimes says that you should be at home focused on the game. Dad, I'm not focused on something that's tomorrow. I need to practice being like present, for example. But it's like I found a recipe that is just, it's liberating for me inside. That I can feel it in my body right now. I look forward to playing against now some of the best teams in the world.
Best players.
Yeah, some of the best players in the world. Like I did it last game of last season, Chelsea. Like the game for me became really easy, and I was really proud of that because it was a product of working on the missing piece of the jigsaw. It doesn't guarantee it's going to be easy, but I finished that game and I was like, wow, that was a real byproduct of working on that, and I'm very proud of myself for that. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be some real tough games, but I now have the recipe to go into the game very clear thinking with good strategies. When things go wrong, I know exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to think about, what I'm going to tell myself. When it goes wrong for other people in my team, I know exactly what to give them through that experience. And I'm very good now at just controlling my own confidence, keeping it where it needs to be, focusing on what the most important things are. When mistakes go wrong, I'm like, bro, like when I used to make mistakes, it used to just scare and panic the hell out of me. And it used to just ruin everything. Like Sunday's gone. Now I'm just like, I'm in a real nice place. And everything we just talked about there is now built into the Elite 11. Game finishes, you don't know how to process it. We have all that in there. You don't know what that mistake looked like and why it was. It's always like to take everything as your fault, because then you know how to learn. You can learn from the situation. But we've got a coach now in there that's gone through my clips the last 2-3 years. Guy's a genius. Like he's made football so easy for me. And every clip now I watch, I go through it with him. The level of detail he goes through is something I've never seen before. And I've now been to the Premier League. Like his level of detail it makes the game so simple for me. So when I get it wrong, I know why it's gone wrong. Like I used to play a game, and when things go wrong, I was like, that's just life. He's good. No. There's exact reasons. Like everywhere I move, every time I get the ball, every time I play, there is a calculated decision behind that based on where the opposition are going. Before, I used to just make up where I wanted to go based on feeling and emotion, but my feeling and emotions are always changing. Like they're always changing. So you can't base your decisions off feeling and emotions. Base it off the facts that are in front of you. So yeah, it's been a cool journey, but now it's okay. I've now got that freedom inside me. Can we now give that to people?
So you talked about a recipe, and it's about putting ingredients together, right? So beforehand, you just said you used to mix them together, and the recipe never come out right. Now we've got ingredients we can put in place for players to help them. So who's this for, and how will these ingredients help the players that we're working with?
It's for players in the Football League. So I've seen, I've been from non-league all the way to the Premier League, and it's the same reoccurring feelings and emotions that held me back in every single league. And I look at my teammates throughout the years, and it's been the exact same for them. Like I've played with hundreds of players at Sunderland, and we all came to Sunderland to stay and have the career for a long time. And I saw players come and go because of everything that we just talked about. That was the same for them. They couldn't deal with the ever-changing emotions, the ever-changing confidence. So, and I've seen that in every single league. Premier League now, it's the same. I'm looking at players, I'm looking at opposition. Same thing. They're massively in survival mode, in fear mode. And, my teammates, I want to make sure that they're in thrive mode. It's the best place to be in. And then I've just seen a lot of my teammates, I talk to them now about it. Some people have retired. It's like, yeah, I couldn't deal with that. It was just too much for me. And it's given that freedom to players. And all it is knowledge. It's spending time getting to understand all of this.
It's applying the knowledge, right? So it's having the knowledge. So I think there's a difference. And this is where we're going to help players, because most of them, I speak to them and they say, oh, I listen to podcasts. I'm like, well, you listen to podcasts as well, right? But it's actually an application of the knowledge, and it's holding people accountable to that, which actually gives them the changes.
Yeah, and the coolest part about this is I used to think psychology was having a session and then someone telling me a few things, and then I go into the next game and be like, hopefully everything's good, but it's not. It's actually actionable things that we give you. We'll give you one thing per, there's hundreds of things out there that you can apply. But no, we're going to try this one thing. I want you to apply it this every day in training and for this game. And then as soon as that game finishes, I want you to let me know how it felt. What did you do? I'll give you a scoring system of it all. and it's actually like a real life change in game that will change it for you. And we've done that with some younger players, and it worked instantly for them. And it's like, okay, well that worked. Okay, let's try this one next game. And it's just adding layers, but you've got to get the foundations right. But it's actually taking something actionable that you think about, because if you don't think about this one thing, your brain will go everywhere. Your brain will start thinking about the mistake, about what could happen, about the crowd, about your dad, about your contract, about your injury, about being on the bench and coming on. But no, let's forget all that. And it's actually given players a tool, something that they think about during that game. That's their only focus. And they do that. That's like the foundations. And honestly, I want many players just to come on, just to try it for 1 month. Give us the opportunity to change their game in 1 month and just get that hook that I did. Because I nearly didn't work with you. I told you no 13 times. But it's like once you get that, once you feel that change and you feel yourself going back to that freedom, honestly, that's how it should be. But football will never teach you that, because all it is, it's looking like all of us, all players, it's just looking for results. It doesn't have time to...
What would their results be? So let's take, if we had a player come in, what would their results be? What would be the difference for them? If you could go, this would be the difference to you, what would be the difference?
Well, it depends what they come in with. So like, again, it's the 4 fears that are reoccurring: the fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, and fear of not meeting expectations. So players will be struggling with them 4 fears. They come in different masks, and it's understanding their base level of where they're at the minute. So when players come in, I'm like, okay, well, hit me where you're at the minute. So for me, if I was talking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not enjoying my football. I can't think clearly. When I'm playing a game, I'm so not in the present moment. I'm either in the past, thinking about my mistakes, or I'm in the future. And it's understanding where players spend most of their game, because most players will never spend a game in the here and now. They're either massively in the past thinking about their mistakes, or they're projection into the future of, I'm going to make a mistake, don't give us the ball here, don't give us the ball here. And then we all play the hide and seek, trying to protect ourselves. So it's actually just understanding where the player is now and going, hey, guess what? I've been there. It's understanding that every single player has been there, and it's okay, this is where we're going to get you to.
Where would it be in a year? So in a year's time, if they put all that into practice, where would they be?
Free.
Yeah.
Like, think about their best playing state and their best playing game, you'll be back there. Guaranteed. I lost that for so many years. Like, getting back to that self, I used to just survive through games. I could never really be more than a 6 out of 10. Surviving I could get through games, but it's not the way to be. So it's, okay, well, you're here, and it doesn't matter where here is. Wherever your here is, I've been exactly there. So it's normal, like, players think they're the only ones. I used to think I was the only one feeling this, and that's why I never spoke to anyone, because I'm like, I'm the only one feeling this, I'm the problem, everyone else is doing great. Lies. Every player's feeling exactly what you're feeling. However lonely the game feels, however hard it's feeling right now, however stressed you are, however close you are to quitting, I'm telling you now, I've been in that exact same feeling. And now I'm in the Premier League, and I'm as free as I've ever been in the most pressured league there is.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I still might make mistakes, I still might not play badly, but that doesn't mean I'm feeding the pressure. It might just mean I'm not quite up to the level for this one game or this one moment. So it's understanding where they are here, and then they're going to come on this journey where they're never going to feel as bad as they do here. They might get back to here, but it's like, okay, we're going to get to here, then you might get back to there. But it's going from here to here in that journey, the same way that you've done with the technical side. You've done it with the technical side. Your technical side was useless, and you took it on this journey, and now your technical, your right foot, your left foot's up to here. Okay, well, we're going to do the same with the mindset, because you are here, and football is only just going to hit you. And if anything, your mindset gets worse as you get older, because you start protecting yourself. You think what you know is good. So football keep hitting you with things, and you're like, why am I not getting better? And then you got to work harder on the technical side. The technical side goes here, but this mindset has never been activated. It's never been worked on. You've never been given the tools. So it's like, okay, well, let's start moving this up, and you'll watch your game just 10 times.
Oh, I massively agree. If that sounds like it's for you, we'd love to invite you to apply to work with us. All you need to do is go to www.elitexiapply.com, fill in a form, and me and Luke will take your game, guaranteed, to the next level.